We're on the move again, taking a road trip and heading down to Birmingham to catch up with Tim. This episode we wax lyrical about vaping opinions, introduce our long-suffering audio guy Wes, and have a chat about the scope of our retail stores. Welcome to episode 5 of the Totally Wicked Vape podcast. Was that the signal?
I just... You kick out to 5, can't you?
I don't know, it just felt like an exceptionally long period of time.
I think that should stay in. I think that's the start of the podcast. Yes, so, by the way, welcome to the Totally Wicked podcast.
Okay, yeah, this may as well be the start, okay. Hello and welcome to episode 5 of the Totally Wicked Vape podcast. Hi, Tim.
Hello, Rachel.
We are somewhere a bit different this week. Tell us where we are, Tim.
We're in Birmingham. You guys have come down to see me this time round, haven't you?
We have. We say we. I feel like we need to introduce at this point. So there isn't just me and you that do this podcast.
No, because we don't know what we're doing as far as the technical stuff is concerned.
No, we don't.
So, say hello, Wes.
Hello.
You need to, if only you could see how uncomfortable he looked at that moment in time.
So there is me and Tim and Wes who does our technical stuff. So yeah, me and Wes came from Blackburn and we drove to Birmingham, which was a nightmare. Birmingham is horrible to drive in.
Yes, I agree.
It seems like a lovely place, really bustling, busy, a bit too busy for me. I'm a small town girl.
I don't know about that. You must be adjusted to Manchester from where we're from.
Oh no, I can't cope.
Oh.
I can do Manchester for a couple of hours. But that's it. London.
So you stopwatch when you get out of the car?
No, literally, I'm like, right, okay, go, because it's too much for me.
To be fair, I know where you're coming from with that, because I once did, the only time I've been to America, I spent 2 weeks recording an album in Manhattan.
Wow.
And with spending 2 weeks in a city like New York, by the end of it, I was ready to come home.
See, that's insane though, isn't it? That's like so busy.
Yeah. And it was too much. You know, wherever you go, there's no peace and quiet. It's just bustle, 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 even at night. And as a result, whilst I had a great time, I was very happy to get home.
Is everything 24 hours there, like they say?
Not everything, but lots of it. Yeah,
Yeah.
It's full on.
I can cope with my 24-hour Asda. But that's it.
Not on Sundays, though.
No, not on Sundays, 10 till 4.
Sunday is the day of rest. Unless you work in retail.
And then it's not. No church for you.
No.
So yeah, we're in Birmingham and we are in the lovely Birmingham store, which I've never visited before. It's stunning now.
It's beautiful, isn't it?
Really nice.
I'm sorry for all those other store managers out there that might be listening, but for me, it's the most beautiful shop in the company. It's
Really nice. I was surprised because, I mean, to be fair, all of our stores are so consistent that they're all lovely. When you go into one, it's always so well laid out and really nice. But this one looks like a flagship. Yeah,
I think it's the like feature walls that are in there. So rather than just being kind of a square shop with the features and things in it, it's differently shaped and it just gives it a completely different vibe. Plus you've got the self-service wall for liquid. So in every other store, you go up to the counter and you order your liquid from the team that are in there. Whereas here you can we've got little baskets and you can go up and shop yourself and then take them over to the counter.
Question. I was dubious of that. Do people use it?
Yes, yeah, definitely. It works really well because not only have you got, it's essentially a big flavour menu, isn't it? But you can actually pick them up and touch them and take a look. And it works really well. Of course, we get ourselves over to greet the customers and take them through it because it can be quite daunting being faced with a wall of liquid. But no, it works extremely well.
Yeah, well, you were with it when we barreled into the shop, freezing cold and windswept because we got lost. When we barreled in, you're actually with a customer there, so it was nice to see that they're actually stood in front of...
Nice to see that Tim still does a bit. Yeah.
Hey, you greeted us very nicely, and then when you realised it was, you were like, "Ow, upstairs."
Oh yeah, just get out of the way.
When we first came in, but no, it made me think when we were coming here about, because we've been to a couple of different shops actually recently. We've been to some reseller stores and we've been taking some video of some places and how many shops we actually have. Because when I first started, it sounds ridiculous, there was so few when we first started. Like, so when I first started, about 12 months later, you started and there was still only, 8?
I think, it was round about that number, 7 or 8 corporate stores, weren't there?
And there's so many.
Well, we're looking now... So now we're 5 years on from when I started. Let's say there was 8 there. We're now looking at We've got 5 stores in the Midlands. We've got probably about 15 stores in the north.
That's insane.
And we've got Exeter, which kind of sits on its own, out in the southwest. And then we've got probably round about in West London and London, we must have another 20 stores approximately.
Which is so, and that's just our totally
Corporates.
wicked.
Yes.
So resellers, you're looking at so many more as well, spread across, which means that, see, you wouldn't think that you would come to the centre of Birmingham and you would be able to find a TW store. You would never have thought that back then.
We wouldn't have done back then.
No. But there's like Manchester City Centre, Birmingham, London, they're everywhere now, which is great for people. Because it was one of these things that you always panicked about as a vapor, which was that you wouldn't be able, if you went to visit somewhere and you ran out of liquid, it was always this sheer panic of, there's not going to be anywhere to go. Whereas now, wherever you are, you can probably find a TW store.
Oh, definitely. And you've now got the fact that we're providing, we've got concessions, if you like, everywhere. So most petrol stations, or sorry, most is gross exaggeration, but a lot of petrol stations now provide our liquids. So if you can't get yourself into a store, there's probably somewhere nearby that's open 24 hours that you can go and get some liquids, tide you over until you get back into your local store.
I used one on Sunday.
Did you really? Where?
I went to Euro Garages in Wigan.
Oh, yes. Yeah, of course.
I got a coffee while I was there. And then I'd completely misjudged e-liquid consumption. And so ran out and thought, I can last. And then when I got to about midday, went, no, I can't. No. Absolutely not, I can't. I need to go now.
Do you not have like loads of little bottles kicking about the place where you've got right down to the bottom and then thought, that bottle's not going to last me through the day, so I'm going to take a fresh one? Well, I have about 100 of them all stashed in a little box. So when I get to that point that you just described there, I'm just going and filling it. It'll take me 5 bottles to fill up my tank.
Well, I did, but then apparently my husband, who is extremely conscious of recycling, had gone, they're all empty. Them bottles there, them 6 bottles that are on your desk.
Into recycling.
And then the bin had been emptied that week. So I had absolutely nothing.
I love the fact that you had to say that the bin had been emptied that week, insinuating that the bin hadn't been emptied. You would have been in there with just your legs dangling out, rooting through to find those bottles.
I actually would have, and I would have had no shame.
That's the equivalent of me being at university and smoking... not emptying my ashtray so that I could undo all the dirty rollers ends and put them all together. I'm sure we've mentioned that on a previous podcast. It's not something we should be talking about regularly, is it? It's not the proudest moment of my life.
I think you just enjoy talking about
I think I do, yes. I was quite quiet in the last podcast. I didn't have that much to say. I'm laying it all out now by just talking to rubbish.
That's all right, we can cope with that. So yeah, it's lovely to be here in Birmingham. Like I say, I was really impressed with the store when I walked in. But one thing we are going to talk about today is opinions of our customers as well. So I think this is a good one for you because you are in contact with our customers so much in day to day. And we're not. We keep in contact via social media and things. But you're face to face with people. So I don't know whether you know that we do this, but every Monday we do a Monday poll.
Oh, right, okay.
On our Facebook. And so it was something another member of our team started who isn't here. But Johnny, who is mainly responsible for our social media, he started this Monday poll and he sort of picked up a bit of pace, and so he's carried it on.
Get a good response.
Thousands of votes on these polls.
Oh, look at that.
So it's really good. Really high engagement. A lot of people seem to enjoy getting involved and talking about topics to do with vaping. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to spring on you. Are you ready? I'm just getting prepared now.
I love the fact, just for you listeners out there, by the way, I never see these scripts. I just come in and get told what I've got to talk rubbish about. So, go on.
So I'm going to spring this on you. You ready? So what I'm going to do is I've got 4 saved of previous polls. Now, you've never looked at these. I know you haven't. And so I've got 4 previous polls and what the outcome was. And I'm going to ask you the same question.
Right.
And I want to know your opinion and what you think our customers voted on social media.
So I have to give 2 answers. I have to give what my opinion is and then what I think the actual answer was.
Yes.
Right, okay.
Are you ready?
Go on.
Right, okay, this week's poll. So this isn't this week's poll, but that's what it says. Do you agree with the regulation which limits an e-cig's tank capacity to 2 mil? So the options that were given were, yes, 2 mil is enough. And no, they should be bigger.
No. No is my answer. I would also assume that our customers' answer was no. Personally, my own opinion, of course, put the disclaimer in there, is that whilst I understand that regulations were put in place to help protect, say, children or just people in general, depending on which regulation you're talking about, I don't personally believe that reducing a tank capacity to 2 mil is helping anybody. The thing that I always bring up with this, and it really frustrates me, is that we've started regulating bottle sizes and tank capacities so that, let's say, a child can't pick up a device, manage to undo it, and then maybe drink the liquid. Well, the issue with that is exactly the same with a bottle of bleach. Yeah, we've not started restricting the sale of bleach. No, we've just put a decent stop cap on there, so that a child safety cap, which is what we've got on all of our bottles of liquid, and the tanks. Unless you know what you're doing, I don't expect that a child's going to find it that easy to be able to get in there. So no.
No for you. No for you.
A resounding no.
It was also a resounding no with our customers.
Excellent news.
With 95% of people voting saying that no, they should be bigger. So some of the comments did get a little heated on that one, so we're not going to read any of them.
People get overly passionate.
They're actually doing a lot of these polls, so to be fair, I'm probably not going to read any of the comments out, but we will go with the click that they do.
We'll have to do a late night version and read some of them out.
I don't know whether we could even. To be fair. Right, okay, so we want to know what you think about the regulation which limits nicotine strength of e-liquid to 20 milligram per milliliter. Do you think higher strength e-liquid should be made available for heavier smokers looking to make the switch? And the options were yes and no.
Okay. My personal answer would be, it's a bit of a mixed bag for me, this, because that is one that I can understand. Because should, again, back to a child getting hold of your e-liquid, if we don't have a restriction on that strength, then evidently it could make a child ill if they were to drink it. So I kind of understand a restriction. Whether the restriction's correct or not is a different question. Personally, the other side of it, we have issues that if someone's smoking, say, 40 cigarettes a day,
yep,
then we find it very difficult to provide a liquid strength that's going to satisfy the cravings to get them off cigarettes. The only option that we have is to go to a direct lung device with a slightly lesser strength. For example, I'm using a 1% in a 0.2 atomizer. It's quite strong. But if they don't want to use that style of draw, which isn't natural because it's not the same style of draw as you would do on a cigarette, then we've got an issue. And we want to help people quit smoking. So it's kind of a double-edged sword, that one. I'm not 100% certain which way I would go. And it's equally dubious for me which way our customers went. So I don't know. I can't give you an answer on that one. Have I just got to take a stab?
Take a stab.
I think they said that we should be able to have higher strengths.
I'm going to give you my opinion on this one as well, because I'm the same as you.
Nobody asked you for your opinion.
I'm still going to give it, because I'm the same as you. I understand why there's a regulation. I personally don't think there should be a regulation. And that's only because, going off my experience, you can't have too high an e-liquid strength anyway. You can't have a nicotine strength ridiculously high. Most people can't vape it and wouldn't want to because it becomes unpleasant. Even back in the day when we used to have 36 milligram per milliliter, and that was the highest vapeable e-liquid that we sold, so few people could actually vape that e-liquid that I don't see the point anyway. I get it possibly from a safety standpoint, but again, you're going to have to chug a fair amount of e-liquid, in my opinion, not the opinion of Totally Wicked, just throwing it out there. Disclaimer. So, I'm with you, and it's normally I'm so strong on my opinions, but I'm on the fence. I can see both sides.
To be fair, though, you've just raised an issue that if I used my previous argument for the previous question, which is that the bottles are sealed and people can't, and we need to be responsible as adults,
yep,
like the bleach, then should I really be advocating in any way, whether I'm on the fence or not, that we should restrict that nicotine strength, especially if from a marketing perspective there's never going to be a strength of liquid out there that is ridiculously high because it won't sell, as you quite rightly said.
They can't vape. You can't vape it. 36 was insane. Did you ever try 36?
First time I came in and you guys served me and I was asking what flavours could you recommend, and you said, oh, we'll go for caramel, and I needed an 18 milligrams, so as a 20 a day, 25 a day smoker. And I said, oh, what's the difference between this? And you pointed out the Patriot caramel and the red label caramel. I said, oh, I'll have one of them in 18. We've not got it in 18. Oh, give it me in 30 then. Oh, God. I had migraines for the next 3 days trying to use that stuff.
I can only remember when I worked in the Wigan shop, one customer who used to buy a 36 milligram e-liquid, and that was the only customer that I ever knew that bought it, because anyone that tried it would come in and say it's just too much. So I think it becomes unvapeable. But our customers were similar, so there isn't as much of a split on this one as the last one. So 66% said that it should be higher, but 34% said no.
What can I say? I know my customers.
You do, you know your customers. That's why I'm asking you, see. Right, okay, next one. MPs have argued that vapers shouldn't be made to go outside with smokers. So what about you? Do you think you should be allowed to vape in your workplace, or do you think that they should make people go outside to a smoking shelter? The options, I didn't give you the options, were yes, vape away in work, or no, outside with the smokers.
Oh, so see, I was hoping there would be a third option when you gave me the options then, because part of this for me comes down to consideration. Now, at the end of the day, some of us are vaping blueberry, some of us are vaping tobacco. One of my favourite flavours is Titan tobacco. Rachel pulled a disgusted face at that point because tobacco tobacco flavours are more niche.
Yes.
The reason why I picked Titan tobacco is because on the exhale it does smell. Now the problem with that is that if you're sat there and chugging away at work and someone doesn't like the smell of it, then you might as well be sat next to him farting. It's that. It's sorry, I know it's a bit crude, but it's true.
No, it's true,
and it's extremely inconsiderate. So I would personally advocate for vapers should not be going outside with smokers, because that is alienating vapers who are trying to make a positive step in their lives to not smoke cigarettes, yet we're putting them back into temptation, standing outside with people smoking ciggies. I think that's absolutely ridiculous. But I would probably promote that maybe there be some sort of indoor vaping area in your workplace. So it's kind of a halfway house between the two. I don't think that we should give people free rein to be blowing clouds in their office building and disturbing people next to them that might not like it, but at the same time they definitely should not be being sent out with smokers, because essentially that's part of the massive, sorry I'm going off on one, that's part of the massive miscommunication to the public with regards to vaping. All you're doing is, to those people less in the know, lumping smoking in with vaping. And it's wrong.
No, I agree with you, and I get really preachy about being an obnoxious vapor. It's really bad of me, but as an ex-smoker who was super conscious, even when I smoked, of not smoking around or near people who didn't, I'm the same when I vape. So as an example, when we were driving up here, before I vaped in the car...
Is it okay, Wes?
I asked Wes if he minded... Wes getting his 15 minutes of fame on this podcast, by the way.
Are you getting loads of mentions today, aren't you, Wes? Wes is sat here shaking his head, by the way.
Resolutely silent. But I asked him first whether he minded if I vaped in the car with him, because Wes doesn't vape, and I don't want to be sat next to him vaping and he's super uncomfortable. Now, it turns out that Wes is absolutely fine with it. It doesn't bother him in any way. But I'm still really conscious of being obnoxious when I'm vaping. The public, however, said that yes, you should be able to vape in work, 73%. 27% said no, you should go outside. Now in the comments there, where there was quite a few, a lot of them said, I agree that no, you shouldn't be able to vape, but same as you, but they shouldn't be in a smoking shelter. There should be a dedicated place for vapers to go. So most people agreed with you. And
possibly, like I say, it should be indoors, because then we're giving people a further incentive to get over from smoking to vaping, which, by multiple institutions now is said to be at least 95% better for you than smoking. So it's that stepping stone. Well, let's not go outside. Let's stay inside and stay warm, especially in winter. Well, then again, winter doesn't make that much of a difference in the UK, does it?
It's so cold here today.
Yes.
Right, okay, so this is a little bit different, this one, but should vaping be allowed in mental health trusts? So in mental health trusts, smoking rates are significantly higher than those seen in the general public. And Public Health England has suggested that e-cigarettes could help reduce these rates. However, in 2018, a third of these mental health trusts banned vaping on the premises completely.
Well, what's the reasoning for that? What, honestly, what the hell is behind that? Oh, we're going to ban that. Oh, why? Why? Tell me why. Give me a feasible reason why. Do you have a reason for me, Rachel?
My only devil's advocate is that they don't understand it.
Well, that's their problem. So understand it before you ban it. That's just ridiculous. So people that are restricted to being in a particular institution and they don't get a choice to quit smoke. They either have to go cold turkey or they continue smoking. I have nothing more to say on that than utterly ridiculous.
It seems like our customers agreed with you because 92% voted yes, of course it should be allowed. 8% voted no, it shouldn't. I don't know why they would have voted no, it shouldn't.
Don't upset the customers, Rachel.
I know, everyone's entitled to their opinion, it's just that your opinion is wrong.
Oh, everything, gloves are off. Gloves are off.
Right, okay, another one. This one is another controversial one. Are you ready?
I like controversy.
Do you think prisoners who smoke should be given e-cigarettes and be permitted to vape while serving their sentence?
Oh, you're opening a whole can of worms there. Do you really want me to get political?
I'll be interested to know if our opinions differ on this one.
If they are allowed to smoke, then I do not in prison. Then I do not understand why they would not be able to vape instead.
As far as I'm aware, they're not allowed to smoke in prison. Inside.
That's not what the films say.
I'm sure. Now, I tell you what, I'm going to quickly. This is such breaking protocol.
Are you on your phone?
Yeah.
You're not supposed to do that whilst you start socialising with people. Never mind on a podcast, Rachel.
I'm just very quickly double checking my logic here.
What's your logic?
Whether it's banned. I think that smoking is banned in prisons.
No.
Yeah, because it was a thing about passive smoking. So it wasn't so much for the people who smoked.
Yeah.
But it was a passive smoking thing for the prisoners who didn't and the guards who didn't.
Do they not have a designated smoking area?
I think they might, but they used to be able to smoke in their cells and things.
Oh, well, I wasn't assuming they'd be able to smoke in the cells.
Yeah, and so I think the question is more, do you think they should be given e-cigarettes and permitted to vape within the prison while serving their sentence?
Oh. Well, I'm going to have to go with my previous answer, which was there should be some kind of halfway house, because if prisoners are allowed to smoke in prison, not inside, but whilst they are incarcerated, then there should be an incentive, because at the end of the day we're trying to rehabilitate people. There should be an incentive that if they want to better themselves by being able to quit smoking, there should be that incentive that they can stay indoors to vape if they so wish. That's the way I would go. Now,
this was one of those nearly split down the middle. Mm-hmm. So 60% said yes, but 40% said no. I'm Mrs. Devil's Advocate today. So Devil's Advocate again. I understand why they may be cagey about people who are incarcerated for whatever reason.
I think it's more about luxury, isn't it? It's not necessarily. I think when you put that to a public vote, I think it's more along the lines, the response would be more along the lines of, do they deserve that privilege, as opposed to the angle that I took it from, which is more like, well, if they are allowed this, that's why I covered my bases, you see. If they are allowed to smoke, then they should be allowed to do this.
And I kind of get, it's such a difficult one because everybody has such a strong opinion when it comes to things like this. I look at it, this shows how our brains work, because I look at it from a completely different point of view. And I look at it from, for me, I'm assuming that they're seeing it, the people who run prisons and things like that, possibly from a safety point of view. Because how can you safely give, they don't even allow prisoners to have certain types of pens, let alone an electrical device. Let's be honest, that's what this is. Like, they're not allowed mobile phones, they're not allowed things with certain batteries in, and yet could they be looking at it from a safety point of view?
More than likely.
So it possibly may be from that angle, but who? Again, it comes down to this thing: is who are we to say? Because you don't know why.
You asked me the question.
I know, but we don't know why a certain person may have been. Maybe in that situation.
You're not going to give a battery to an arsonist, are you?
No, exactly. Yeah. But then, you then can't start getting into one rule for one and one for another. Because at the end of the day, these people are incarcerated for a reason. They have found themselves there.
Murderers, you can have electronic cigarettes. Arsonists, no, you're a no-go.
So this is the thing, so you couldn't ever do that. And so it either has to be completely one or completely the other. And if they're coming at it from, well, we can't give certain people... and this specific type of device, and they can't give them to anyone.
Yeah. No, that's a very good perspective, that, Rachel.
So there you go. That's why I gave my opinion, even though you said we didn't want it.
Commendable work, sir.
So yeah, there we go. That was fun, actually. Well, I enjoyed that.
I enjoyed that.
We could have done more, but I think we would have just been talking for about 2.5 hours.
Yeah, we were on form today, aren't we?
We are.
I don't know whether I've had too many cups of coffee this morning.
I've only had one, and it was a nightmare because... Wes took me into a Starbucks that didn't take car payment.
He's the star of the show today, Wes, isn't he? Ain't you, Wes?
To be fair, he then took me through the drive-thru, so I couldn't moan too much, but I've only had one coffee, which is beyond me. So yeah, anyway, that was our polls. I'm not going to tell you about them. Don't look at any.
I don't have time.
Because we may do this again.
Excellent. Yeah.
And I want it to be a surprise for you.
Okay.
Did you know that Totally Wicked have a quarterly magazine? If not, where have you been hiding? Our Vaped magazine is packed full of the latest vaping news, product reviews, sneak peeks and a whole lot of fun. Why not pick up the latest issue from your local TW store or look out in your online order? Don't forget to enter the competition, where you could win £500 of credit to spend at Totally Wicked.
Okay, shameless plug, Tim.
What we're plugging?
It's different this time.
Okay. Again. Well, I'd hope it'd be different. Otherwise, it'd be a bit boring if we're plugging the same thing every week.
Tick.
Okay.
So it's not a product. It is our Vaped magazine.
Yes, we love the Vape magazine.
We do. I don't when there's a deadline looming, but no, I do. I love Vape magazine. So most people who are listening should already know what Vaped magazine is because we send them out with every order.
Yes.
And we have them in every retail store.
We most certainly do. In
every retail store. So, but I think I'm going to insert disclaimer because I think we're the only vape company that do this.
To my knowledge, we are.
So we have for those who don't know, we have a quarterly magazine. I was then going to go on to say it comes out every 3 months, but I've just said that.
Just for clarification, Rachel.
In case people don't know
what's quarterly?
So we've just released one in April, and this one was really cool. It was a cessation special. So it focused on helping people who are maybe struggling, already vape but might be struggling, or it was ideally for people to give to someone who had been toying with the idea of vaping and they were sort of stuck on the fence. They
needed the push.
Yes, and so it was aimed at that, but each one tends to have some sort of theme, or if there's been a lot of news, like there'll be a lot of different information in there, but this one's a cessation special, so it's full of articles about smoking cessation, about some of the training that we've been doing, about hints and tips for new vapors. There's also some funny lifestyle ones in there because I'm involved and obviously I need to get a little bit of humour in there somewhere. And we have a competition in there. And I think some people will maybe get this magazine and not look through it. And so if you're one of those people, you should. Because the competition is always really fun. So it's a spot the difference. It sounds lame, but it's not. It's really good.
It's my favourite when it goes around the office at HQ and everyone's, do you know this one? Do you know that one? I think one of the answers was, for one of the previous ones, you had to guess where Mr. Wicked was. And the Blarney Stone. I've never heard of the Blarney Stone.
Right.
I wasn't going to get that.
Do you know that was one of mine?
What so that you came up with?
Yeah, so I put the Blarney Stone in there. So Mitch, who is our resident artist, who does a lot of our artwork, he mostly always does the competition. So we will sit together and brainstorm and we'll come up with a cool idea. And that was one, and I went, "Oh, we'll put the Blarney Stone down." And he went, "Yeah, cool." So because Mitch automatically knew what the Blarney Stone was, I assumed that everybody else
I didn't have a clue.
Would know. Maybe I just assume everyone's got a huge Irish family like I have.
Well, we need difficult questions.
But nobody, very few got it.
Stuart Mercer, operations director. I went to him with my magazine. He said, Stuart, what's that? He said, oh, it's the Blarney Stone. I was like, oh, all right, yeah. I'll take your word for it.
People listening, tell me that I'm not going crazy and that the majority of people know what the Blarney Stone is. If you do, when we post this out and we post it on social media, please comment when you've listened and say, yes, of course, we know what the Blarney Stone is. I'm not going to explain it because people should know.
You kiss it.
You kiss it and it's an island, yes, of course. I wouldn't because I'm a germaphobe, so I wouldn't go anywhere near that. But I know a lot of people do.
I think we might have mentioned previously that Rachel eats a packet of crisps with a spoon.
There's so many germs in our office right now that it's no wonder that I do. Because people are germy. No offence, but you tend to be full of germs.
We have a cleaner that goes around twice a day, Rachel.
Yeah, no, the office is extremely clean, but people aren't. Our office is spotless.
Would you prefer it if Maria went and cleaned the people in the office as well?
Yeah, she possibly would. She's lovely. But yeah, so the competition is whopping. It's like £500 credit to spend on Totally Wicked. And they're always really fun to do. And you can now email your answers in, which you had to post them or take them into a shop previously. But we've now opened up that to email. And a lot of people started doing that this time because it's just much easier. A lot of people, time constraints, they don't have time to post stuff in, but taking a quick picky and emailing it only takes a couple of seconds. So yeah.
I think it's worth saying as well, if any of our listeners do have somebody out there that they're trying to get that final push just to try and take up vaping, that make sure that you pick up one of those magazines. You should be given one anyway if you go into one of our stores, but make sure you pick up one of those magazines and get it into their hands, because it takes us through, all those trials and tribulations that we go through in trying to quit smoking. And also there's some really good pieces on the fact that all of our retail team are now NCSCT trained, so we have the same level of training as smoking cessation advisors. And I think it's really, really important that people understand that, because that's a different level. We are as well placed to advise you on quitting smoking as the people that you would go and see as part of the NHS. And that it's our bread and butter, getting people away from cigarettes and onto vaping.
Absolutely. So. And it's a really good read. Like, I'm not just saying it because I have a huge hand in it. But
even if I do say so myself.
But it's a really good read, and it's something that we really pride ourselves on, that it's not just droll and all based around how serious it all is. It's not. It's actually a really good read, and there's articles from so many different people from around the business. So yeah, go and pick up a copy of Vape. And if you have got the recent cessation special, and there is somebody like Tim says who needs a nudge, make sure that you pass that magazine on and look out for the next copy, because I've just started looking at that and it's going to be loads of fun.
Loads of fun, even if you do say so yourself.
Yes.
Me?
No, it's been really fun, and I'm really looking forward to the next episode, so I'll see you next time, Tim.
See you next time, Rachel. See you guys. Bye, Wes.